When we started our business, we had no experience, but we had YouTube, Google, and way too much advice from gurus who weren't even running a business.
Here in my garage, just bought this new Lamborghini here.
And apparently, all we needed to succeed was a clean logo, a dream, and 4 hours of sleep. Yeah, that's how that went.
We lost $80,000 in our apparel business.
So off the bat, we were $36,000 in debt.
And so every month after that, it was negative.
Probably like a couple weeks later, he did a chargeback on us.
Most of that advice, complete BS. We were barely even making any money. We still didn't know exactly what we were doing. Here are 6 overhyped tips we fell for so you don't have to. All right, guys, we just got a machine to be able to cut the rolls. What we had to do now is we had to get rid of the pallet or the shipping box that it came with. It's a lot of wood, so I'm thinking we just throw it in the trash, but I don't know if it's gonna fit or not. So that's what we're gonna be doing right now. So that also brings me back to the topic of the video, which is common mistakes that a lot of people think that you need to do to become a successful business owner, successful entrepreneur, which one of them off the bat is that you need to have everything perfect. I know that that's speaking with some people, looking at a lot of videos, they think that they need to have everything perfect. They think that they need to have the brand, their logo, the name has to be perfect. And then for us, for the company, when we picked out names, it was just like random, no?
Yeah.
I know when we started, we didn't really pay much attention to that. For Forma, we didn't even have a logo.
No, it was just the text.
Yeah, and even the way we started, we didn't have a LLC, we didn't have a bank account, which looking back at it, bank account was really important, but we didn't have anything. It was just, let's see if we could make money. And that's how we started.
Yeah. We just Googled some random names, but then I know there was some recommendations from the one who created our LLC.
Yeah.
And like integrated services, it sounds more professional, it sounds like mature, it sounds like a company that actually does something.
And I think it was also because we didn't have the experience, and that also helped us, because I feel like now, looking at everyone, you need to have a brand, everything needs to be perfect.
Yeah.
That's not the case.
Yep.
When did you realize that the logos and stuff didn't really matter in the actual business?
Yeah, so I know for the most part, they don't matter in the beginning. First, you got to make sure you have a good product or a service. You have to make sure you get your first customer, get your first sale before anything. And that also goes to another thing, is that people think that you need an office, you need a warehouse to get started, which that's going to be another expense. So if you don't have your first customer, you don't have your offer, you don't have your product, you don't have your service, then really you're just going to be spending a lot of money on a nice logo, on a nice name, on a nice office or warehouse, but you're not making money. So the first step, it really is to make money.
Also just doing, because I think it's hard to tell at the beginning what makes your product good, what is gonna make it like a good marketing, let's say campaign or anything like that. You actually need to just start doing it, whether it be the service or the product. You just need to start selling it. You need to start servicing people, and then you'll get feedback from them. I know to the best of your ability, you should have some knowledge on your product or service, and to the best of your ability, provide the best that is possible at that time. But through time, the expectation should be that you're gonna receive feedback from your customers. You're gonna receive feedback from like the reviews, the Google reviews, the Amazon reviews, whatever that looks like. And from that, being able to improve the product and or service. And through time, you know, the reputation builds, the positive reviews build, and it's just kind of a snowball effect to where it's just gross. But the beginning is just do something, sell something, service someone. That's the first step. Everything else doesn't matter, because if that is not down, then it's all for nothing.
Yeah, because even by doing, you're going to build a lot of your skills. Figuring out if your service or if your product actually works, then you're going to be getting repetitions on talking with your customers. That's also once you start selling, or once you start calling people, telling them about your offer or your service, then it is also going to build a lot of your skills. It's going to build your skills. You're also going to start networking. So yeah, it really is important just to start. So as you can see outside, I know it's very early, very cloudy. I think right now it's barely 7:30. That brings me on to the next topic, is that I know when we first started, we heard a lot of people, a lot of gurus, motivational speakers, is that as soon as you start your business, you're going to be your own boss. You're going to set your own hours, which we learned that that's not the case.
I think at the beginning, because all throughout our life, we saw just long hours being worked, that hard work. Through my parents. I know my mom worked from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 days a week. My dad worked also a lot. And so we saw that hard work, extended periods of time of working, it produced a reward. So I don't think me personally, and I don't think you either, believe that the 4 hours, working 4 hours a day, working 30 minutes a day, working an hour a day, was going to yield some, extraordinary results. When you do start a business, when you own a business, you do become your own boss. But then you yourself become your own boss. The business becomes your boss because essentially whatever the business requires you and it demands from you, you have to do. No one else is going to do it. You're going to have that initiative. You're going to have that wanting to do it, that need to do it, because no one else will. And so the fact that that is a requirement of you now, that means that yes, you do get to do whatever you want, but not exactly, because you get to do whatever you want within the business, because then the business engulfs you and consumes you. That becomes your life. Well, from our experience, you do not need a degree to become a business owner or get into business. At the most, I got, a year and a half of credits, classes. Does it help? Probably, but I think it just prolongs the time that it takes you to actually get business down, like the actual intricacies. Because now one of the things that I'm seeing is that it is about the business, it is about the product, it is about the service, but a lot of it in your business is gonna be about people.
School, I'm not gonna 100% bash it because I know school is also good to make connections, especially if you go to like those big colleges like the UCs and the Cal States. So you make connections, but college, really, you're only gonna get a piece of paper. I think it's gonna be more important for you to actually get your reps in, because the more you get your reps in, the easier business is gonna become.
So overall, from our experience and from the people that we've seen, get that real world experience, just start doing it. Because I think that it expedites the process of business. Instead of going to school for going and taking history classes or science classes that you don't necessarily need, just getting that real world experience, at least from our experience, it teaches you so much more than college ever did to me. Because I know I even took some college business classes. I don't remember anything from that. I don't remember nothing from that. Nothing. All I know is what I've learned here, and that's pretty much it. And that has taken us to what? Like pretty much to $5 million a year as of now. So, yeah.
No, I told you, that
Yeah.
I only slept like 4 hours 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Which that also brings me to the next topic, is that a lot of people say that sleep is for the weak. So if you want to get ahead, then you got to work 18 hours, 20 hours, and then only sleep 4 hours, which we learned that that's not the case. Sleep is very important. Whenever I do get a little bit of sleep, well, maybe before I was able to handle sleep a lot better when I was younger. But now, if I get less than 5 hours, it's very hard to concentrate. I find myself sitting, typing stuff or working on something, and I lose my train of thought a lot, and then I just start kind of like dozing off.
No, I would 100% agree with that, because ever since I started sleeping more, I tend to function a lot better, and I think I tend to be more, I am more productive. There is just pure focus, there's energy, my mind is there, as opposed to lack of sleep, where you feel almost drunk when you sleep like 3 to 4 hours. You feel almost drunk and you feel tired, and you're thinking about how tired you are, and you don't think about what you need to do or the business. You just think about how tired and sleepy you are.
And yeah, I guess don't even look at this, because I know that Jeff Bezos, he tries to get 8 hours of sleep. I remember a video with Ben Francis, the owner of Gymshark. He tries to get 7 to 8 plus hours of sleep. So it's not just us, it's a lot of successful people, which kind of makes sense, because I know that when you're in a position where you have to oversee the business, you really have to think, you have to use your brain. And yeah, if every time you're trying to wake yourself up, if that's all you're focused on, staying awake, then it's going to distract away from everything else. So
yeah.
Have you guys ever tried to sleep 4 hours a night type of thing?
We
Work as much as you can and get as little bit of sleep as possible?
I think we definitely have, especially when we were in that grind stage of jobs and the business. We definitely slept a lot less. It was extremely hard. I mean, most of the stuff that was done back then was more laborious, so it was a little bit easier, because it's just, you just do repetitive stuff, you just do the mundane stuff. When you had to think about things, when you had to make decisions that will affect the business, you really need to be on top of your game.
that also leads me to my next thing. A lot of people really want to chase numbers. They want to chase success, because especially with social media, you see the next guy that they started their business, and then a year later they already have a bunch of people. They are making a lot of money. Yeah, they're making a lot of money, and all you see is numbers. And we learned the hard way that scaling fast, growing quick isn't necessarily always the best thing. For us, I know that we scaled kind of decently with our first business, but we still didn't know exactly what we were doing. I know that we were making a lot of mistakes. We were over purchasing inventory. We grew into a warehouse that we didn't really need, because I think out of the whole warehouse, we were only using less than half. So Technically, yes, we grew pretty quick, and we just saw the numbers. We just saw the revenue. I think our second year, we did $170,000 in revenue, but we were barely even making any money. And so scaling quick isn't necessarily always the best thing. Setting the foundation, getting your skills ready, how my brother said in the beginning, perfecting your product, perfecting your services. How is the customer going to perceive your product, your company? So in the beginning, it's just setting all of that, all of the foundation, and then you're on the logistical side, being able to fulfill the orders. If it's a product, being able to fulfill the services, because people are going to review you. They don't care if you're small, they don't care if you're big. They're just going to see your company as it is. So if you don't have all that ready and you scale quick, then it's going to tarnish your reputation, my opinion.
A little is off track, but also if you want to own a business and if you want to be a boss, be prepared to be perceived as an asshole. It's kind of like sometimes you don't like your parents' decisions and you like fucking hate them and you dislike them, but they have essentially your best intentions in mind. Yeah, that's another thing to be prepared for, but that took us what, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years. I'm 30. We started when I was 18-ish, kind of.
Yeah.
So 12 years. So it's definitely not overnight. Learning that, and at the same time, success is in the same way.
Yeah, because we wouldn't be able to have these tough conversations when we were 18. So like my brother said, it definitely does happen throughout a whole period. And going back to the social media, the reason why people just pop out of nowhere, they have all these successful businesses, people think that they did it in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. That's not the case. There's some people that are not on social media who have big companies, big businesses. Are they an overnight success? So it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah, and then even then, like our business, within the first few months, it started like working. But then there was what, 8 years prior to that, 6, 7, 8 years prior to that, there was just a lot of hard work. There was just a lot of failing. There was just a lot of debt. There was a lot of things that we learned and grew from. But people do not see that. They only see that, we have this business now and it started going good, and it's just continuously going up. But they didn't see the previous years that we just been struggling. From 2012 to 2021, that's when 2021 you could say we saw the success by us purchasing my parents a house. It took us what, 8, 9 years?
Yeah.
So
all the jobs, all the door-to-door, the going into finance and then leaving finance, and then the different jobs, working multiple hours a day. So it was a bunch of that went into this.
So like a decade. That's how long it took us, for the lack of better wording, to be successful, to us to be comfortable, to my parents to be retired. It took us a decade. Now I know some people are a lot smarter and a lot better than us, so it could probably take less, but the expectation shouldn't be that in the next few months or in the next year or even couple of years that you'll be successful, unless you're extremely good and you have the experience, or you have someone that is able to guide you through that a lot faster.
So there are quite a bit of misconceptions that you're a business owner, you don't have to work a lot. Or first, you need the best logo, you need the best name, because once you have the best name, people are gonna come to you. All of that, that's not how it works. So I guess, piece of advice for anyone, is there anything you would give? Like just one piece of advice?
Patience. You're gonna suck and you're gonna fail and you're gonna feel bad, but be patient. As long as you're progressing, you're gonna get there. It's inevitable. We got there. We came from Mexico. We have DACA currently. We had no connections. We just, through time, we got better at the things that, e-commerce, we got online, we got, images, graphics, we learned a lot. And so as long as you're patient and as long as you're improving, just be patient. It'll come at some point. Don't get frustrated. And it really is kind of cliche, but don't give up. You're gonna get there at some point. As long as you're doing and as long as you're progressing, you're gonna get there. It's inevitable.
Yeah, but anyways, I know my brother said patience, but then also just starting it, because the minute you start, you don't have to have money. You don't have to have the knowledge. You just have to have the willpower to start, and then everything else is going to follow with patience. So that's our recommendation. Yeah, and so as you've seen, we've fallen for plenty of bad advice. What's one myth you fell for? Leave it in the comments below.